Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm a real estate investor, entrepreneur, business strategist, speaker, and also a best-selling author. Every single day, I have the opportunity to help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today, I have an amazing guest. This is somebody I met a few years ago at a conference, and once I met her, I knew she was great at what she does. She was able to connect with so many people, build strong relationships, and has a passion to help other people. She is all about how you can have it all. She has a podcast show called Have It All Show. She is a health and wellness coach, a transformational speaker, the author of the book Identity Shift, and she is a top 1% worldwide network marketing professionals. So please welcome Ms. Lisa Wolny.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Fong. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on today.
Well, thank you for being here. So for people who don't really know who you are, can you give us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I actually live in Calgary, in Canada, and I'm a busy mom of four. And I've been married to my husband Stan for 26 years. So this is, I just want people to understand, right, that you can have family, you can have balance, and you can still be an entrepreneur and kind of do all of these things that that certainly that I have passion around. But I mean, obviously we all have different passions. So yeah, I got into network marketing about 10 years ago when I had a phenomenal product experience when I was looking at transforming my own body and losing weight after my fourth baby. And my last two children were not expected because I actually had a massive stroke when I was 30 from a neck manipulation, and I was told I couldn't have any more kids. So we have a huge gap between our kids. There's 11 years in between our first two and our last two, but that was a turning moment for me at that time in my life, and I was 40 at the time. And yes, I just, I wanted to stay home with my kids. I wanted to earn income because I had a business. But of course, I had a very successful painting company. But again, I couldn't collect unemployment insurance because I was self-employed, and all of a sudden I was out $7,000 a month, right? And I loved my new babies, but it's just like, for our family financially, it really rocked our world as well. I mean, you get used to budgeting around that. So, but anyway, I had been a personal trainer, years prior. So I knew that, I loved helping people. So when I had this phenomenal product experience and I lit up and I just went from feeling like I was at rock bottom to really getting my spark back again, I went, oh my gosh, I have a real responsibility to help as many people as I possibly can, because health, as we're seeing in the last few months, it's everything. Without your health, you truly, you can't thrive. You will not thrive. I don't care how much money you have. And so that became a passion of mine. And I was just, it was just to really impact thousands of lives, physically and financially. Because I wanted to have the choice of staying home with my kids, but also really, having that time and financial freedom and contributing financially to our family and helping others do the same. So as a result of that, I built a team of over almost 15,000 worldwide. Wow. And, when you have a vision and you're on a mission, it's amazing what can happen. So, and that, as a result of that, Fong, my whole world changed. It just opened up so many other opportunities for me in terms of speaking, in terms of authoring a book, all of that. And so, you know what? And that's how Have It All, the Have It All Girl brand was born. Was because I'm like, you know what? I was able to truly create a life by my design where I could have it all. Mm-hmm. Right? So everybody's definition is different of that. So yeah, so that's kind of that in a quick nutshell.
Very, very cool. Now, you talked about having it all, and you show other people how they also could have it all. Now, at what point did you go, you know what, I do have it all? Like, where was that aha moment when you go, I do have it all. All these boxes are checked in my life, and I'm going to show how people can check off all these boxes as well. So what are those boxes that people need to check off to go, I do have it all?
Oh, that's such a great question. So For years, I felt very, very fulfilled in my life. I mean, honestly, for one thing, so many people search for long-lasting love, to find a partner, right? Not everybody wants that. That was something I certainly wanted, to have a family and whatever. So I certainly checked off those boxes very, very early on. And again, I was never going to settle. So I was very, very fortunate that somebody came into my life, when I was 23, and we've just been a phenomenal match. But it was for me, the missing piece was the physical, was having that body. I had a strong body. I grew up on a farm. Whatever, I was always very, very strong, but I always struggled with my weight. And so that was one piece where I don't know, I always chased. I always felt less than, right? It was always something like, oh my gosh, like I have to be on another diet. And I just, even though I was a trainer and I knew how to lift the weights, and I had become very, very fit at certain times in my life. But that was one that was always just nagging at me. So when honestly, when I hit rock bottom after having my fourth son, and I was so tired. So what I didn't have in my life was, I was exhausted. So I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the body that I wanted, right? So I was very, very happy with my family. So, and that's so many people, right? They have this, let's look at a wheel. Yeah. And they have, they filled out different pies, or maybe they're very, very financially, set. Right? Like their career is at an all-time high, but they're falling apart physically, and they just can't find, the relationship that they're searching for, or, perhaps they're not able to have a family, whatever it might be, because everybody's definition of having it all is different.
Right.
Not everybody wants 4 kids. Not everyone wants, right? So it was, I would say, as I had that physical transformation back in 2011. That was huge for me, because that was probably the biggest missing piece for me. And I was able to, create an income for myself. I always knew that I was a 6-figure plus income earner. I always knew that I had that potential, even though I didn't have a university degree. And I was married to an engineering professional. But I didn't have that. But I always knew what my self-worth was. I never lacked that belief in myself. So it was, with network marketing, there's no cap. So it was all based on my effort, right? I mean, I lined up with a phenomenal company that has a very lucrative compensation plan and phenomenal products. So it was kind of like a perfect storm. It was up to me to then do the work. So then all of a sudden, I became a multiple 6-figure income earner.
Wow.
In that company, and earned over $1 million from home in the cracks of time with 4 kids. Mm-hmm. Right? To me, and I had freedom. I could get up whenever I wanted. I could build my business whenever I wanted. I could go on holidays. I didn't have to ask for time off. I'm going, holy smokes. Yeah. Like this is true time freedom, right? And so to be able to have the health, the wealth, the time freedom, the family, the love, like just joy, getting up and feeling true joy every single day. That's my definition of having it all, right? Feeling at peace. Yep. Yeah, we're all gonna have stress, but there's good stress. There's good stress and there's bad stress. So that was kind of it. So I would say by the time I hit about 44, I'll be 50 in a couple of months. Mm-hmm. Actually, not even a couple of months. But I really felt like it kind of hit at about 44. And then, of course, I just kept expanding on that, right? So, yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. And I know from all the conversations I have with people, they're like, oh, you know what? I have this, but oh my gosh, like if I could just have this, right? Or, I'm so happy here, but I'm just like, you know what, I'm struggling. I'm really struggling over here. Mm-hmm. So I've really worked with people to fill in those missing gaps. Wow. And listen, it's never going to be full, right? There's always going to be ups and downs and stuff, but as long as we're always moving towards, moving towards growing and being better, I think, we're winning. We're winning.
Very, very, very cool. Now you talked about that journey, and during this journey, you transformed your image, you transformed your physique, you transformed your mindset, and it kind of goes into that identity shift that you talked about, and that then led to your book, Identity Shift. So tell us a little bit more about your book and why is it so important for people to read?
Oh, you know what? That was a real passion project of mine, and because so many people would ask me, how did you do it? Like, how did you do it? How did you stay focused? I mean, oh my gosh, you did this with two small babies that were 15 months apart, you know, teenagers in high level hockey. Yet you were able to commit day in and day out and stay consistent and do your workouts, even like when I was exhausted, right? Like when I was exhausted, there were no negotiables. I was so focused on why I was doing it and why it was important and what the end outcome was going to be. You know, when we people hear it all the time. What is your why? You know, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. And yeah, I mean, whatever. We've heard it so many different ways. Or, you know, what's your vision? At the end of the day, honestly, this is what I help people with. Is that because here's the thing: if you're not laser focused and you don't have that will to get out of bed at 5 in the morning. I got out of bed at 5 in the morning. It didn't matter if I had only 4 hours of sleep and I was up 5 times a night with 2 crying babies. I knew why I was doing it. Mm-hmm. I knew how important. I knew that it was going to change my life. Like, I was so clear on that. I had entered a challenge with thousands of people, and I was going to win it. Yep. I openly broadcasted that. Like, that's the thing. My accountability, I was accountable to the outside world. So many people are so afraid to be accountable. And I always say, if you don't want to tell somebody about this, that means you're telling yourself right now that you're going to fail because you don't want it bad enough, right? Because you don't want to have to answer to it. Accountability is everything. I don't care. I mean, look at, we coach. I've been coached by people. We get coaches for accountability because not everybody can kick their own butt. Right. I was a very good self-butt kicker because I was so clear on what I wanted, right? Which in turn I became a very, very strong butt kicker for other people. I'm known as that. That's just, if you don't like the honest truth, I'm probably not your coach. I will not be your cup of tea. I will not, right? But yeah, it was just, so back to the book. It was really sharing. I had a very unique upbringing, right? And so many people blame their past or, they live in the past. And I really authentically, I was very, very vulnerable about sharing, everything from my childhood, not having running water until I was 13. I did not have a flushing toilet till I was 13. I did not take a shower till I was 13, wow. Right? We had a bath. We had a bath. I had to haul the water for the bath. Like, we worked hard. I lived on a farm in northern Alberta. I mean, but this shaped me. I wasn't bitter about that. I looked at that as like, wow, I'm so grateful for those experiences because my work ethic is because of that, right? I saw my parents working so hard and they instilled belief in us from a very small age. Like, even though we didn't have all of the material stuff, we had love. We had work ethic. We were fed very well. And I had parents that said, don't ever let anybody ever tell you that you can't amount to anything. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, you do have it all. My mom used to tell me that I had it all, even though I had like third pass me down pairs of jeans. She told me I had it all. And so it's interesting how powerful, the words are. So I knew the power of that, and I'm like, I have to put this into a book, and I have to show people because they kept asking me what I did and how I achieved what I achieved. So I finally gave them the secret sauce. Everybody's like, what's your secret sauce? So the subtitle is The Secret Sauce to a Sizzling You, right? And so anybody that's read it, it's so interesting how people will contact me and say, oh my gosh, I read it, and I read it a second time, and I read it a third time. It wasn't just to write a book just for fluff or to get ratings. Like, it was truly to help impact people and help them have a shift, wow. A shift that they needed, right? So again, a lot of passion put behind that, and you know, kudos to my husband. He's very introverted. He's an engineer, and you would know all about that, as you know, you're a former engineer, and I said, listen, if we're going to truly impact people, we have to be as vulnerable as possible.
Right.
Are you okay with sharing some of our most intimate stories?
Yeah.
Because I don't think the book will be what I need it to be for readers if we don't. And he was just so supportive. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, you know what, if it can help shift one family because one parent becomes the best version of themselves, and then that can trickle down to kids, that is ultimately my passion, because I was an angry person when I hit rock bottom. I yelled at my kids. I was not proud of it. I wasn't proud of it. And I saw the impact it had on them. And then when I lit up and I started taking care of myself, right? And I got my spark back, and my kids were like, oh my gosh, Mommy, you're so happy. You're so happy. I just saw the whole dynamic of our family changing. We have the power to do that. Like we truly have the power to do that, but most people are not doing it. They're just sitting and festering in their crap.
Yeah.
Right. So again, if I can help the parents, I know that that's going to trickle down to the kids. Wow. Every single time. And that's what drives me to do what I do. Like truly, that is what drives me. So
very, very powerful. So thank you for writing that book and sharing all those great stories. I'm sure that lots of people would really love to get their hands on it. Now, for somebody who's very, very successful in network marketing is an industry where there's a lot of negative vibes with it when people hear about it. Now, and it's also a very, very difficult industry to be very successful in. What would you say is something that you do that allows you to separate from all the other network marketers and also overcome all that negativity that people put onto it?
So it's so interesting is that I never saw it as being something negative. Mm-hmm. It's a mindset. It's a very, very respectable and like it's a real business model. And the problem is that people tend to take their advice or their, form opinions because their friend who has no work ethic tried it once, made one call, got a no, and said it doesn't work. Right. So most people are basing their opinions based on people who, the wrong people, right? The broke people, the people that have a broken mindset. And so I always had posture around it. I saw what it did for other people. So here's the thing. A huge part of my success was because I didn't listen to the naysayers and the broke people, and I saw what was possible, and I saw the impact that I could have, and I could do it on my own terms. It came down to me, right? So anybody that I know, and many people are successful. I mean, in my company alone, there's over like 360 people now that have earned over $1 million cumulatively. Wow. There's probably there's over 400 that earn over 6 figures residually. It's not just a small amount. I don't go to conventions and there's only 5 of us on stage, right? I see there's hundreds, which show, and then never mind the amount of people. Like if somebody can earn an extra $1,000 a month residually coming into their family, they'd have to have thousands upon thousands in the bank earning minimal interest to be able to have that. So it's about education. I would have to say if people really want to change their lives and they want to have choices, stop judging something you have no clue. You don't even understand, right? It would be like me walking into whatever, any kind of situation and judging or not doing my due diligence before forming an opinion. And here's the thing, it's called network marketing. I think a lot of people, because here's the thing, anybody can do it, anybody can come in and do it, is that they're not being upfront with what it truly takes to be successful. I mean, I just brought on a new business builder from Germany, for instance. He was a president of a Fortune 500 company in Germany. He totally understands the business model. He did not have any negative thoughts around it. He saw it, right? And he understands. And I knew the numbers. I was able to show him the numbers. I was able to show him exactly what he needed to do, what the formulas were in order for him to reach a particular financial goal that he was looking for. So that's the thing. A lot of people do not practice.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just think they're going to sit there and money's going to fall from the sky. With any kind of business, we know it takes hard work. You have to do your due diligence. There's a learning curve. There's skills that you have to develop. Mm-hmm. And for myself, I came in with a fairly strong skill set, and then I just went to work to fill in those gaps, right, where I wasn't feeling as strong. So yes, it's all a mindset. And you know what? It's interesting though now that so many people are losing their jobs. And I did a post about this. I actually posted on my stories yesterday, and I said, network marketing is all of a sudden becoming sexy. And then on the bottom, and I had a whole residual income, all the numbers, right? Like, to make $10,000, whatever, 500, 1,000, had all increments, how much money you would have to have in the bank. And then at the bottom, I said, I'm so glad I knew what sexy was 9.5 years ago. I didn't have to wait till today because I knew that, right? So that's interesting. And I didn't care what people thought. That's the thing, is that so many people are being held back because they are so worried about what the opinions of others are. Well, guess what? Those people are not paying my bills. Those people are not living my life. Those people are going to work on a train, a packed train, paying insane amounts for parking. And listen, you do what you have to do. I don't judge people. I mean, everybody has choices, right? I respect whatever, industry somebody's in or profession. But I look at, like, I can do what I want when I want. So you know what? For me, that was the right choice. That was the right choice for me. And so it's interesting now with people losing their jobs. I mean, and so many people, there are not going to be jobs to go back to.
Right.
There won't. So I've been preaching about, what is your plan B? Do you even have a plan B to your plan A? Because guess what? You never know what's going to happen. And COVID-19 has proven that. And so now, all of a sudden, my phone is ringing because people are like, oh my gosh, you know what? I need to learn how to make money from home. Can you help me? And I love mentoring people on that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yes, but I'm very upfront as to what it's going to take, but it's possible. And it's not just possible for a small few. Mm-hmm. It's really possible for everybody. I shouldn't say everybody, because, you do have to be able to have those skills set, and it does help to have a network, building those relationships and stuff like that. But honestly, if you're willing to go to work and learn the skills that you're not as strong at, it is possible. And I've seen it with honestly, not hundreds, but thousands of people. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's, anyway, I just think it's huge opportunity for people to get going now, because don't wait. Your job, even if you still have a job, it may not be there in 6 months. Like, you should always have multiple streams. Right. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And I think that has been the biggest wake-up call for so many people right now.
Yeah, that's totally true. I completely agree with that. And basically what you just showcased was the fact that, everybody says the economy is down, there's no jobs out there, you can't make money. Well, you completely proved that wrong. You probably made more money during this period of time of lockdown than you've ever made, because nobody could go anywhere. So you're doing everything online, and it's been proof that network marketing actually works.
Oh, it does work. And it's a very legit business model. And when people go, is it a pyramid scheme? So I want to answer that, because so many people watching this, because I used to get it, or I have a lot of people that, let's say, get started in this business, and they're like, what do you say when people say, is it a pyramid scheme? Well, here's the thing, is that pyramid schemes are like Ponzi schemes. They're illegal. So people signing up people, and there's no product or service exchanged, those are illegal. So unfortunately, a lot of people get sucked into those, and they're not. And people go to jail for those. So they're not. That is a pyramid scheme. So unfortunately, people get the two mixed up. So when you have, when you're exchanging, like in my case, I have health products, right? It's no different than ordering online. People are ordering on Amazon all the time, right? So You place an order, it gets shipped to your door, and we get a commission for it. And then we help support those people in their, in reaching their goals. And then we help build a team. There's no middleman. So I get, for mentoring team members, I also get bonuses for doing that, right? So it's no different than like a mortgage brokerage. The broker has different, or real estate, agencies, right? Is that they have teams, and so people are familiar with those models. Well, it's very, very much the same. And it's so interesting because when my husband years ago said, so isn't it a pyramid thing? Because of course that's what's going on in people's heads. And I said, so let me get this straight. So he was working, in a downtown oil and gas company. He was a vice president. And then of course, they had a president, vice president, managers, whatever. And I said, so let me get this straight. Just correct me if I'm wrong. So the lady that greets everybody at the door, right? That's her job. And I said, so is there any chance that she could ever make more than the managers? Let's say if there's bonuses or with her salary. He's like, well, no. And I said, and how about the managers? Would they ever make any more than you as a, VP? Because it was about 4 VPs. And he said, well, no. And I said, so you're president. So it doesn't matter if you're responsible for deals, closing deals, right? And there's bonuses on the line. I said, is there any chance that you could ever make a bigger bonus than him, or that your salary would ever be more than him? And he's like, well, hell no. And I'm like, you, my dear, work in a pyramid. Okay? So that's your structure. Because in network marketing, and this is so a lot of people incorrectly assume this as well, is that the person at the top makes all the money, which is so false. Because based on the compensation plan, it's really based on your work ethic, right? So for instance, I have probably 5 people that are above me in my team, and I make far more than they do. So the lady sitting at the desk could easily make more than the president. And where do you get that kind of opportunity? Exactly. Right? You don't have to wait for somebody to quit or get laid off or retire for a position to really get open. And that's what I love about it, because I'm a go-getter, and I'm like, I want to get paid for what I'm worth and for what I put in. And if people don't want to work hard, they don't want to work at the level that I do, that's okay. Because if you're happy making $500 a month to cover your car payment or your kids' your kids' extracurricular activities, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I just wanted more. So, so I just wanted people to understand that, because it's interesting how many people get that. And often they don't know how to respond to it. And that makes them quit because they feel they just don't know how to respond. So again, it's an education and showing people. And then once I explain that, they're like, oh, I told that. I didn't know that. But they said it because they heard it from somebody else. Right. And I really think that in any kind of business, in life in general, educate yourself first before you throw out an opinion on something. Right. Now, are you really, can you really back up what you're saying?
Now, how did it feel when you were able to stump an engineer?
I have to say that was a great moment, which is why I talk about it.
when the engineer has nothing left to rebuttal with, it's like, okay, I did my job.
I did my job. And I was just very matter of fact. And I wasn't getting defensive whatsoever. And I don't have to get defensive because I know how to respond to it.
Right. Now, for lots of people who would like to get into network marketing, what would you say the very first, let's say 1 to 3 steps are for somebody to venture into network marketing?
Great question. So I would really say, before you jump in, definitely do your due diligence. So surround yourself. First of all, go and talk to somebody who is successful. So reach out to somebody like me. I would really say, stay away from somebody who's never had success or is maybe starting, it's not that you can't join with them, but make sure that they have a strong mentor that you can attach yourself to, that you can get the right training for. Also, really investigate the company, right? Investigate the compensation plan and investigate the products. Because if you can't stand behind the product and you don't, because this is all about belief in anything, right? It's like, it's really hard to bring people into something. I mean, I think our products are phenomenal. I have a 15 out of 10 belief with them. So for me to go and promote them and get people on, I mean, I don't even hesitate because I know what they're going to do, right? So that's the thing. I think a lot of people jump into the wrong opportunity. They like the concept of it, right? They really like the concept of it, but they truly jump in without doing their due diligence. So it's like anything. Would you go out and buy a business without doing your due diligence, without investigating, running the numbers? Is this a startup or is this a very well established company? What are the leaders like? Right? How much are you going to be getting paid in the compensation plan? Is it private? Is it public? I'm with a private company. We don't answer to investors, board. There's because here's the thing, if you're putting your heart and soul into something, you want to build a legacy, you want to make sure that company, and there's no guarantees, it's no guarantee, there's no guarantee your job's going to be there in 6 months, 12 months either. But again, I mean, do your best to set yourself up for long-term success. And is your position willable? So that residual income that comes in, for instance, with mine, if something ever happened to me, my family would still continue getting paid every single Monday.
Wow.
And that's a big deal. So those are really things for people to look at, and those are the questions to ask. So thank you for asking that question, because it's a very, very important one.
Yeah. Now, for people who's watching this, it's absolutely obvious that you have high energy, great passion, and ability to really inspire other people. And for people who wants to get into network marketing, they go, you know what? That's not what I don't have that energy. I don't have that push. I don't have that ability to connect and all kinds of stuff. Does that mean that network marketing is not for them? Or is there other ways around it?
Oh my gosh, this, again, another great question. So no, I mean, listen, people are attracted to different personalities. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not. And I know with, the size of team that I have, I see some of the quietest, most unassuming people have a passion for serving and helping others. And because ours is helping people with their health, right? That these people just authentically love helping people, and they're not the loudest person. They're not the ones, with using their hands, to speak, right? But they're great listeners. They're very, very compassionate, and they're coachable. People need to be coachable, because not everybody with my energy coming in, just because you're an extrovert, doesn't mean that you're going to be successful, because you may not be coachable. Yeah. So it's really about those people that are willing, and even if you're shy, I mean, that's something a fear that you may have to work on. That might be a skill, right? That you have to it's like a muscle. You just have to practice. And, as you get more confident, right? So no, all personalities, I have seen all personalities have success in this. It's not just the vibrant, energetic ones, right? So people have to find their person. I mean, it's all, I always say, people are not buying the product, because the product is available through so many different distributors. People are buying you. People are buying you at the end of the day. So.
Now, I know that with regards to network marketing, they go, okay, we got scripts for you, we got templates for you, we got all this stuff that's set up for you to start off right off the bat, and you can start doing everything. But I know you go above and beyond that. I know you create a whole new identity for yourself, a new brand for yourself, and also through your own personal brand, be able to excel in your network marketing business as well. So tell us more about how important it is to go above and beyond what the company actually offers you and provides you, and then creating your own thing at the same time.
So it's interesting. When I first started, I was just myself.
Mhm.
I've always been myself. Everybody has to remember, whether you have a website. I mean, I did not build a website till I had earned over $1 million. I used the company's website. I still use the company's website. But what I did, always remember that you're your own brand. So how you show up in the world every single day, right? How you follow through on things. Are you reliable? Do you have integrity? Are you trustworthy? How are you living? That is your brand. It is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room, right? What has been their life experience with you? So when I started, and I didn't have, I didn't have the Have It All Girl brand, and I didn't have the book, and I didn't have all of that. You don't need that to be successful. You don't. I mean, that was a product because of my success. That was stuff that allowed me, it allowed me to go that route and work on those projects later on. But again, is that you have to put out there what's authentic. Yes, there's scripts, because some people just don't even, it's interesting. I've always had a hard time with this, understanding this one, because I love talking to people. But for some people, they freeze, right? Like making calls to people, that's not, I quite enjoy that. It's not something that, I love speaking. I've always, my gosh, I was winning speaking competitions at 10. That's not everybody.
Right.
So those are things that the best thing that you can do is just be your true authentic self and be consistent. I see so many people that post, or they'll do a small event or invite people, and then maybe only one person comes, and then they stop. And then they try it again in 2 months, and then they stop. I consistently invited people and held a space for people, right? People knew that they could rely. And it's interesting, as I kept going, people used to go, wow, you're still doing that thing? You know how many people called it my thing? So you're still doing that thing? Oh, you mean my profession?
Yeah.
Yes. So are you still doing your thing? Are you still go downtown every single day and get 2 weeks of holidays a year? Are you still doing that thing? Right? It's so interesting. So it's up to us to demand that respect.
Right.
Right. But you have to feel it yourself, because if you don't feel it, if you're not a 10 out of 10 in network marketing, or yourself doing network marketing, well, guess what? You're going to project it back to everybody. And that's where all of those objections are going to be coming in. And so it's just, but it's very, very interesting how, people will just go and say that. But here's the thing. I've been showing up for 9.5 years.
Right.
Right. So then all of a sudden, so even though you don't have to have 9.5 years under your belt, you just, when you're starting, you need, like, anything, Fong.
Yep.
Like, I don't care what you're doing. You just have to consistently show up, because people want to know that they can rely on you.
Right.
They want to know that they can rely on you, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of like, yeah, so sorry.
Consistency is very, very important when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, network marketing. You have to make sure that you're there all the time, so that people can rely on your consistency and know that you can be there to support them whenever they need it.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's a business.
Yeah.
I always say to people, I'm like, so if you had a brick and mortar, would you be down there opening up your doors at 8:30 or 9 o'clock? Or would you go, I'm going to close it for a week? I'll go in next Monday. I'll open up my door next Monday. Right. And it's not
thing
that
I go to now and then.
Right. So I'm like, this is a business. I treat it as a business. And for some people that just want to do the 5, like, just smaller amounts, or, right? Not everybody wants this to be a full-time thing, because a lot of most people in network marketing build this along a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like this is like their side hustle. This is their, and then, a lot of people want to be able to transition and make this their full-time. Mm-hmm. But it takes time. It's not like you're going out and applying for a job that says, okay, you got the position, you're going to be making $80,000 a year or whatever it is. My first check was $7. It was $7, and I was excited about it. And then it became 14, and then 21, right? And then pretty soon I was making like 100, 500, thousands a week. Mm-hmm. Like, but again, I started with $7. So it's managing people's expectations. I think that's just huge, huge. And so many people don't do that when it comes time to this industry.
So for somebody like yourself who's so successful in this business already, and obviously you're coaching other people how to do it, why is it so important for you to still have a coach yourself, and then also the powers of coaching?
Oh, you know what? Because we need accountability. I mean, I'm always looking to up, be a better version of myself, or, sometimes we need another set of eyes looking at what we're doing, or especially if we're hitting a plateau, or, we're struggling a bit. Often, yes, we can look at things and go, okay, I think I know the answer. But it's amazing if somebody can look at things and help you accelerate, or see, wow, if you just made this small change, right? It can just, it can change everything. Is that I strongly believe, I've invested heavily in coaching, and I didn't at the beginning, but you know what, when I was doing my transformation, I knew, even though I had been a trainer, I was a certified trainer, I had my own studio in my house for 2 years, and I wanted to transform my body, but I had never worked, on the nutrition side as much. I done, obviously. I mean, I knew you couldn't eat donuts, to get the body of your dreams. But what I did do was I hired an online trainer who actually had been my mentor, and I knew at that time I couldn't afford to go see him in person. I couldn't afford the time because I had these babies and the money, but I knew I was very self-disciplined. So I just needed a roadmap, and I needed some direction. And I mean, it was because of that I got second place in that challenge out of 4,000 people, right? Because I know, had I left it to myself, I mean, I could have gotten myself so far, but I couldn't have gotten myself to that level where I got my pro card for fitness competitions, right? I mean, he guided me. He was the pro. And that's why I'm like, show me what to do. Right. I need, and that was a huge part of launching me. Wow. Right. So it was because people used to see and go, oh my gosh, you went from this to this. It got people's attention, but it's because I invested, and it wasn't a ton, right? But I knew myself. Now, a lot of people have to invest in let's say a trainer one-on-one, because they just simply don't have the discipline to do it on their own. But so you have to know yourself. You have to know, okay, what kind of kick do I need, right? And some people just need to get, some people need, do fine in group coaching, and then other people, really need that one-on-one, because they have to have everything specific to them. So I think it plays, people spend money on, like, honestly, I would much rather invest in my health and myself than have, throw it into a vehicle, for instance. I just, and I mean, I don't want to drive a rust bucket that's unreliable with my kids. I mean, I still drive a nice vehicle, but it's not a priority for me, right? It's like, I don't hang out in the mall. I love shopping sales, because if I can save money there, and then, but I will take that money and invest it in myself, because I know that can just really help propel me forward. And when I'm doing better, I can actually impact more lives, right? Because that's a huge driver for me. Okay.
Well, two more questions here. You're a mom of 4 kids. You're a very successful entrepreneur, a great network marketer. You're a speaker, you're an author, you're a podcast host, you're also a hockey mom. So how do you balance all those roles?
It's called being organized. It's called having a great support system. It's called not being afraid to ask for help, right? And I'm all about empowering my kids. Guess what? Because I'm a mom doesn't mean I have to go and pick up all your stuff. It's like, it starts with coaching kids and mentoring, right? And showing them what's possible. Why should we cut the grass, We have 2 older kids that are more than capable of cutting the grass, and we now have a 12-year-old that's capable of cutting. My husband's very, very supportive. And again, when I talk about relationships, right, is that he's a very, very strong man. Like, he is not intimidated by the fact that his wife has had success, because he's been a huge part of that success. And here's the thing, is that I find that people don't give credit where credit's due. So, you know, I make sure that I communicate, and I don't think I do it enough. I don't think you can ever do enough to go, you know, I want you to know how much I appreciate, like, because I couldn't be traveling. And now this is great. I mean, honestly, with COVID, I'm like, I've been at home. I'm fine being at home because I've done a fair bit of traveling. And it's because I do have, and I don't have parents that live here. In fact, we watch my mother-in-law who has dementia. So we have 7 in our house, but we work as a team. Like, we truly work as a team. Everybody has a job. Everybody has their responsibilities. I get up at 5:30 when everybody else is still sleeping, right? I'm disciplined. I will go to bed. I mean, I love TV, but honestly, I allow myself a very, very limited amount. It's all about priorities. So I really look at, well, if I want to get all this done in a day, I have to plan, I have to prepare, right? Time management. And trust me, this was not natural for me. I was a huge time waster. So that was something I had to work on, and I continue having to work on, and being organized, right? And just really doing a to-do list. I got a coach to help me with planning, for instance, because that was just not natural for me. I was kind of like a squirrel. Somebody used to call me the most productive squirrel that they had ever met. And so that was one thing. I had a coach that helped me just create lists and how to organize all of my thoughts and all of my to-do list and everything. And I actually wrote about it in my book, because I know so many people struggle with this, right? And that was so helpful for me. So yes, it's just about really being strategic about time, and what are you going to do in the cracks. I was so one of my secrets to success was that I was so successful building in 10-minute pockets.
Wow.
Like, I call them power pockets, because as a mom, you have power pockets, or as a parent. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of dads out there that are raising children as well, especially now more than ever. And I mean, I see my husband's. I mean, I didn't do the homeschooling when all the kids were he was the one doing the homeschooling, you know. And if somebody's sitting there going, well, what if you had to? Trust me, I would have fit it in. I did it for a few days, but I'm like, he has the time to do it, so why wouldn't I, right? I mean, that's where you divide and conquer. But I see a lot of people that are busy, but they're not productive. You know, like, what are you working on? I look at IPAs, income producing activities. So in those 10-minute pockets, 15-minute pockets, right? It's like, okay, am I making a call? Am I contacting a client? Like, how can I help, right? Those are income producing activities, not management ones, not cleaning up my office, you know, activities. And when I go for a walk, I love music. My gosh, I used to teach music. But guess what? I listen to a podcast every single time. So I'm getting my workout in, and I'm learning at the same time.
Wow.
Right? So it's doubling up. And so many people they have to learn how to do that. And that was something I did right from day one, because come on, I was trying to train and run a house and build a business and learn about a new company and new products and whatever, feeding one baby here and one baby there. I would do laundry, and I would have a podcast going while kids were playing. And it's interesting what they hear in the background.
Yeah, very cool. So I'm assuming your kids are all going to grow up as strong entrepreneurs.
I don't know about that. I don't know, but I posted something yesterday. Like, my son's 22. He's we have a girl and 3 boys. And, you know, it's interesting, as parents, don't get frustrated if your kids aren't, you know, maybe they're not achieving what you thought they would achieve at this point and stuff. It's all about you being consistent, because kids watch you.
Right.
Kids watch constantly. And it's interesting, because our son watched us for a long time, and he knew all the supplements were in the cupboard, you know, and everything, but he chose to do this and this and this. And then one day he's like, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me gain weight? Can you help me build muscle?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? And honestly, he worked out he worked out on his own. He didn't need me to ask him. I refused to. I wasn't going to be his babysitter either. Right? And I mean, his transformation was unbelievable. It was 12 weeks, and I posted that today. And it's just, there you go. So at some point, you know what? It's kind of like keep dripping, being consistent. And, you know, everybody has their own path. Our daughter, she was an academic. She got a chemistry degree, right? And I don't know how, I mean, that would have been the last thing I would have gone to do. But that was something she was passionate about. And now she's doing an internship for marketing, which I think is brilliant. You know, she got recruited for that. And so, you know, kids, it's interesting. They're all different. And I'm sure my last one will be a comedian. If he's not, I'll be shocked. But yeah, it's just, you know what, it's really about being supportive, but knowing that they can choose to or not in my steps or their dad's steps or create their own path, right? That's all about having it all.
Yeah.
Is that you get to decide, you get to create, and guess what? It's okay to change your mind years down the road too.
Awesome. Well, one last thing is, if you have one chance right now to spread one main message to everybody in the world, what's that one message?
Don't wait until it's too late.
Very good. Very strong. Now, before I let you go, I have 5 quick rapid fire questions.
Oh gosh.
First thing that comes to mind. All right. Now, if you were a fruit, what fruit would that be?
I love red strawberries.
Awesome. If you could perform something on stage, what would you perform?
Always wanted to be a rock star. So some kind, you know what? Honestly, if I could sing like Lady Gaga, bring it on.
So my next question was, who do you want to perform with? Would that be Lady Gaga?
oh yeah. Oh, hands down.
Now, if you had a chance to have Lady Gaga at your home right now, what would you serve her as your special dish?
Oh, as my special dish, I make a mean vegetable marinade on the grill, and I would have to check and see because I'm not sure if she's vegan or not. That I don't know, but yeah, I would make, probably if she was vegan, I would make my deadly pesto pasta with veggies.
And then finally, what is success like? I have 3 random items here. Give me a number between 1 to 3.
Woo. Oh, let's go in the middle. Let's pick 2.
So how is success like a toupee?
Well, guess what? There's moments of, you know what? It's taking it on and off. And sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off, and sometimes you're allowed to just take it off and put it on the shelf. And you know what? Just kind of be in your own self, like, because really guard yourself, guard your family, guard your time, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we're often giving to others and pouring from our cup. So that's what I would say is just take it off and make sure you take time and fill up your own cup, and just savor some, keep some things to yourself. Not everybody needs to know everything.
Well, very, very creative. Great answer. Thank you very much. So if people want to get in touch with you, get a copy of your book, listen to your podcast, what's the best way to reach out?
So the best way to get my book or go onto my website is lisawolny.com, or you can go and get the e-version on Amazon. Just search either Lisa Wolny or The Identity Shift. It should come up. And I will soon have all of my podcasts listed. They're listed on Millionaire Flicks through JT Fox right now, and they will be listed on Spotify and YouTube. I have a whole bunch that I need to upload. So I've been very inspired by you, Fong. So yes, we'll be getting on that. All right. So, and then they can follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. My handle is @HaveItAllGirl. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time and all your great stories and advice, and your wisdom is much appreciated. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I really appreciate it. And I really hope, whoever's watching, listening, gets some value out of it, and maybe it prompts them to make some kind of shift that they've been looking to make. So
Great. And for everybody else, she is Lisa Wolny. My name is Fong. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.